Insanity, it is said, is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. According to a large number of inspirational mugs, t shirts, and posters, that famous quote comes from none other than Albert Einstein, although that is actually disputed. Regardless of who actually said it, the basic premise is correct. And yet, here in the field of demolition and construction, it's a lesson that we continue to fail to heed. In fact, it's a lesson we continue to ignore, which kind of proves my initial point, if you see what I mean. We let major contracts based on price and are then shocked when there is a subsequent price hike. Unforeseen circumstances, they call it. No, they're not. They're very much foreseen, if you've been in this game longer than 5 minutes anyway. We let major infrastructure projects without proper procurement procedures in place. Barely a joined up thought on risk, delivery, or accountability. And then we're amazed when the project overruns by months or even years. And somehow, it's always someone else's fault. We allow men and machines to work in close proximity and then scratch our collective beards when there's an accident or a fatality. We could have separated them, but we didn't because that required a new approach. Instead, we've adopted proximity sensors and even remote control machines. But we don't use those either, not consistently, not seriously, because of cost and convenience or laziness. We know that falls from height are the biggest single killer in the sector outside of asbestos. That's not new information, and yet we continue to build and demolish using methods that require our people to balance on beams and scaffolds like it's 1930. We know that competence cards don't prove actual competence. A laminated card doesn't magically make someone safe, skilled, or experienced. But we carry on pretending because it ticks a box on a clipboard, because it makes the paperwork look neat if the worst happens. We know that workers are struggling with their mental health. We've all seen the stats. We've heard all the stories or we've lived them. But we crack on regardless, placing them under the same pressures in the same toxic work environments in the vain hope it will all just blow over. We slap a poster up in the canteen about mental health and we think we've done our bit. We know we need more young people to swell our ranks and to carry the industry forward. The average age on site keeps creeping up. But instead of reaching out, we cross our fingers and hope work in the trade becomes fashionable again, as if a TikTok trend will save us. We know our sites and our industry would be enhanced by greater diversity, not just morally, but practically. Broader ideas, better teams, different perspectives. And yet we still operate in a way where anyone not male and not white is viewed with suspicion or hostility, or even both. We might post a photo of a woman in PPE once a year for International Women's Day, but the site culture doesn't shift an inch. So why is this? Why do we keep doing things the same way? Part of it, I think, is just sheer inertia. The way we do things now is the way we did them yesterday, and the day before that, and the day before that. There's comfort in the familiar, even if the familiar is broken. People cling to what they know, and those at the top, the ones who could push change, often made their names and their money playing by the old rules. Why would they want to change the game now? There's also the illusion of action. New acronyms, new committees, new logos. We love a working group in this industry. But if all those meetings and white papers and frameworks don't lead to actual lived change on site, what's the point? Now, when I sat down to compose this article or this monologue, I already had an intro in my head, but I couldn't make it flow into the main part of the piece. So, do you know what I did? I took a step back. I accepted that my intro wasn't quite as good as I thought it was, and I took a different approach. That different approach is what you're listening to right now. Little old me, professional keyboard basher, handful of O levels but no university degree. I saw that something wasn't working, so I tried another way. I wasn't entirely happy with that either, so I tried a third way, and then a fourth, and then I was happy. If I can sit at a desk and figure out something I wrote wasn't actually working, and then rewrite it, bin it, and start again until it did, then surely a multi-billion-pound industry can manage the same, or at least try. But we don't. We just keep ploughing ahead, pretending everything's fine, burying our heads in the sand and muttering, "This is how it's always been done," as if that's a good enough reason. We used to send children up chimneys, but we ultimately figured out that was probably a bad idea. Meanwhile, projects keep running late. Costs keep spiraling. Workers keep getting hurt or killed. Good people keep leaving. Young people keep shunning careers in demolition and construction. And we keep acting surprised as though we couldn't see it coming. And here's the kicker: we can see it coming. We always could. We actually have a body called the Construction Leadership Council. We have trade bodies that don't just see individual and isolated problems, they have a watching brief over the entire sector. They can see the failings and the shortcomings, the repeated problems and issues. They publish reports, they hold summits, and yet here we are. If they're not willing or able to forge a new path, not just talk about change, but to actually make change, then frankly, what purpose do they serve? What's the point of having so called leadership if it only leads us in circles? Now, I'm not claiming to have all the answers, I certainly don't, but I do know when something's broken. And what we've got right now, trust me, it's broken. Sooner or later, we need to stop lying to ourselves and admit the truth. What we're doing now isn't working. It's not working for the people on site. It's not working for the next generation. And it's definitely not working for the future of this industry. So maybe it's time to stop being insane.